Oh, wow. This genie in a bottle has said he'll grant me three wishes. Anything that I can possibly want. Hmm. You know, I only have one wish. Just one particular wish. I wish that episode 10 of The Performers I Know would have a special guest of Ryan Hill. My dream came true! The Performers I Know coming at you! These are the performers I know, I know. These are the performers I know. These are the performers I know, I know. These are performers I know. These are the performers I know, I know. These are the performers I know. These are the performers I know, I know. These are performers I know. Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to another fun-filled episode of The Performers I Know. This is episode number 10. Yes, we've gotten up to two hands now. 10 fingers, 10 episodes. Isn't that great? Don't you just love it when things work out? I know I do. This week, I'm very excited about this one. This is a living legend all the way from Canada, which is America's Hat. That's right. My guest this week is a very talented young fellow who I've had the pleasure of working with for the last 4 years. His name is Mr. Ryan Hill. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for your wonderful introduction. How
I
are you doing?
know. I'm feeling like a big old box of fluffy ducks. I'm doing just fantastic. How about you?
I'm doing really good. I
All right. Well, to set the scene, once upon a time in 2020, during the COVIDical years, I was supporting Matthew Lamb, another very fine individual, another talented individual that I hope to have on this show sometime in the future, in a virtual production of Dear Edwina Jr. There was two casts. Matthew was playing Scott in one cast, but the other person playing Scott in the other cast was Ryan. So I watched both shows and I was really enthralled by Ryan's acting and his singing. And I definitely wanted to use Ryan in a future project. Now, Ryan, my first question to you. What got you bitten by the acting bug? What led you to want to become the performer that you are? A triple threat, as it were, because you are an actor, a singer, and a dancer. How did this all come about?
so what made the acting bug bite me was I was watching a play at our local theater and I was like, I want to do that. So then I did that, and then they recommended this dance school that I should go to because there was some dancing in the plays that I was doing, and there was also singing, so that's where I started to love singing. So then I went to this dance school, and then an agent picked me up and got me my first role, the Playmobil movie. Um, and then she said, then at the Playmobil movie, there was a singing coach. Her name's Cassandra. She's an amazing singing coach. She's so talented. And then she was working with me. And then ever since then, I got a new agent. And ever since then, I've been into all of the arts.
You really covered the bases with everything there. The acting was this, the dancing was this, the singing was this. What about the juggling chainsaws? How did that come
That came from there was this like guy who came to my house and then he just passed me a chainsaw and I threw it up and then he's like, "Oh, you should really start this as a circus." And then he invited me to like the Cirque du Soleil and then we did like a whole chainsaw juggling act together.
Folks, I gotta tell you, the fact that he was able to just produce that answer without laughing, playing that completely straight, is one of the many endearing qualities about Ryan that I love so much. I mean, obviously he doesn't juggle chainsaws that I know of, but yeah, he just really you put your heart and soul into that answer. I appreciate that,
Thanks. Yeah, the guy's name was Billy. He was a nice guy.
Billy. He lost his left hand in the chainsaw accident, but he's all right now.
Yeah, he has a he needed to amputate it, but then he like got a new one
See,
on.
what you're hearing right now is that joke going over his head. Anyway, so my original pitch to Ryan and his mother was because I remembered, well, they not that I remembered, they told me that Ryan is an animal activist, has a love of animals, especially pangolins, which we'll get into a little bit later. So I came up with a kind of Ferngully type play where Ryan would play a very spirited wood elf who would defend his forest and all of his foresty magical friends against the encroaching machines of man. Unfortunately, remember when I said it was like Ferngully?
Yeah,
Well, certain people who had a stake in the Ferngully movie very gently reminded me, hey, this sounds a little bit too much like Ferngully. We would highly advise you not do it. So I didn't do it. But what wound up happening is Ryan's debut performance was with me in the sixth scene showcase called Meet the Brute, where you played a big old wrestling fan. Now I know, Ryan, you're not exactly a wrestling connoisseur. What was it like having to play a type of character based off of information that you're not quite familiar with?
it was fun because you also helped me with the acting process, like getting into like you taught me a lot about wrestlers and stuff. And like even with that really nice generous video that you got with that wrestler, I learned more about his that stick that he brought into the arena, and he talked
Yes,
in the
Hacksaw Jim Duggan with his 2x4.
yeah, and he also talked about like that they're playing cards in the beginning and talking about like just relax in the beginning and they go on stage and then they're like enemies. Like he was talking about the process, so that really helped me to get to learn about them. And my friend also knows a lot about wrestlers, so I asked him a few stuff about that. And he's a big wrestling fan, so I kind of just like. But I love playing parts that are different, like that are not me, like because it's just fun to play someone that's so not like you.
I like playing parts that are not me either because I feel like if somebody wrote a script and I was in it, that would be very strange. It's like, how do you know me? Who are
Hmm.
you?
Yeah,
Do you?
that
I
actually
mean,
once happened.
it
Like
did,
someone
didn't
wrote a script and it was me. Well, his name is Ryan, but like he's basically me. Like he wrote the script with me and then he like said like do you do this? Do you do this? And like kind of based it off of me.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, was that the cartoon that he did about the horse that wanted to, or the
Oh,
bear that wanted to be a horse?
no, that was if.
Oh, that was. Oh, yes.
Yeah, cuz my name is
Right.
Randy in the short film.
So there's a lot of stuff that you've done. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't, for those of you who are not aware, Ryan has a very prolific set of voice acting credits to his name. A lot of stuff that's behind paywalls in Canada. Hey, Canada, if you're listening, if you would be so kind as to unlock these paywalls so I could watch Ryan in action, thank you.
Hmm.
I mean, you're all very polite up there, so I feel like they will, if I ask them very nicely, they will do that for me. What do you
Yeah,
think?
the drivers aren't so polite in Canada though. They're
No,
really like
no, well,
they will not let you in.
it will not. No. Can I merge? Sorry, sorry, no.
Or if you let them in, they won't say thank you.
Oh, those bastards. So Actually, strangely enough, the next major thing that you did with me was, well, it came within a 3 month span with me.
Yeah.
You were in a night of Disney improv along with
Yeah.
my friends Chris Black and Alessandra Glove, who have already been on this show and they have talked about this experience. But now I want to talk to Ryan about it now because I was totally taken by surprise in a good way. Because I mentioned to Ryan, hey, I'm doing like a Disney improv show. Do you know how to do improv, Ryan? Just, because we need a junior performer. Ryan was just like, yeah, I know how to do a little bit of it. So we did a practice scene, and Ryan just completely blew me away being an improv expert. Where did you get your improv skills, Mr. Ryan?
Well, since I'm an only child, I've always like had this like big imaginary world like with toys and Playmobiles and stuffies and stuff. Um, so that definitely helped like to have a bigger imagination and to see things in a different perspective. Um, and then I just because when you're playing these worlds, you basically make up like a whole universe, and then it's literally went on till this day. I'm still like have this the same world, and so I kind of just entertain myself with like imagination. So that really helped to get. And then I just started when I got into acting. Then I started actually doing improv, and let's say with my other fellow acting friends, I would do improv with them, and then just kind of led on from there.
Yes, indeed. And it was amazing. Let me back up for a moment because I'm actually forgetting something else that you did before. Well, technically, this was the second thing we ever recorded, but the first thing that we placed on my company's YouTube page, A Boy's Letter to God, which was a proof of concept that I was doing. You
Yes.
were one of my four very talented Lieblings who were part of it. Do you have experience working with proof of concepts where it's not the full show, it's more just little tiddly bits, like a little taste of what's to come?
Well, sometimes like directors, if I know, let's say like I've auditioned for something and then I've booked it, sometimes they'll show me like a little thing and just like we'll do a read or like for like let's say the chemistry, if they do like because for Anya and me did a chemistry test for Playmobil, and then we just read like a little part. Like for auditions, it's normally like not it's not a lot of the script, but sometimes they send you the whole script too.
Yes, indeed. And what I really enjoyed is the fact that this was a period piece. So we're talking like Depression era 1930s. And I asked Ryan's mother, like, do you have something that Ryan could wear that looks kind of vaguely 1930s? And she's like, yeah, I'll think of something. And then here comes Ryan onto the camera, and I'm like, oh my, he looks just like an orphan from the Little Orphan Annie 1930s wave. My goodness, which is, par for the course because you already were an orphan and Annie in a virtual
Yeah.
production, but we're not going to get into that right now. Did you I honestly cannot remember. Did you have to like purchase that or did you already have that lying about that costume?
Well, we got one like the blazer over that was from a friend, and the rest I think we purchased. And then, but for that, then for Annie, we needed to put dirt all over my face.
Okay, so you just shouted makeup and your mom came in with a big mud patty and just smacked you in the face with it.
It wasn't actually mud though. We went like in our because since we live in the country, we have a lot of like soil and rich soil, so it's not like in the city and all dirty and stuff.
Well,
Um, but yeah, and then you just kind of smudge it over your face, and then you have like a dirty face.
you were July, yeah?
Yes, good memory.
You played July and August. That was amazing, wasn't it? There's that joke again. Oh my goodness. Yes, and then as we moved along, chugging along, in December of 2021, Ryan was in a special Christmas gift, along with me, along with Addie James, Jason Manhurst, and Alessandra Gluff and Chris Black. It was a big old bonanza of Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
But the that is where I really saw the intensity of your acting for the first time because you got very emotional during the some of the very wonderful scenes there. Do you feel like you have the innate ability to just cry on command? Are you one of those people who can do that?
Well, I mean, like I've always I've never been able I can't just cry and get tears on command. I can always channel that emotion like from crying. But I find it doesn't help to just think of something. It needs to be there. It needs to be a good script too, like good writing. And that you definitely brought that amazing writing to me. You're super talented. Um,
No,
yes.
the checks in the mail.
Um, yeah, so I feel like I just channel it with it also helps just to really like cry from the heart. Not think about oh, okay, I need to cry, but to really just be in the zone and very grounded and then think about like what you're saying.
One time I tried to cry from the colon and I was stuck in the bathroom for like 3 hours. It was
Ooh.
terrible. I don't know. It's very strange. When I was younger in high school, I was never able to cry on command for a show. But as I got older, I was able to do it, like turn it on and off. Very strange.
Hmm. When you get older, you also have more experience, with more sad stuff too. The older you get.
My life. No, actually, my life's pretty good right now. Can't lie about that. We As we got into 2022, I really started to see how Ryan just has this innate ability to be able to play off of so many different people. Very good chemistry with everybody, especially when we did the Moths and the Fiery Flame. You and Jalene Rios, you guys were fantastic together. Because I kind of sort of told you about the cartoon that it was based off of,
Yeah,
the Disney cartoon. Now, but did you take inspiration from that, or did you kind of
I kind of
make?
just bounced off of the script, did what the script was. I didn't really look at any information from that. I did look, I feel at what the cartoon was, but I mostly did the acting off of the script.
Right. Well, ain't no shame in that. I mean, you still made the character your own. I've often told Mr. Ryan in my sage advice, don't be a carbon copy of a character. Make the
Yeah.
character your own. You
It's like
know,
acting too. You don't let's say you're going to audition for a talent show and then you sing the song exactly like it. You could be amazing. They'll still be impressed. You may still get in, but it's better to change it up to make it your own, not just a carbon copy, like you said, of the same song.
you should you should host your own Ryan talk club, TED Talks. It's amazing.
That'd be fun. I give my friends pep talks a lot. If they're going through a hard time or anything. I love giving my friends pep talks.
Yes. Um, you have a love of you have a love of people and a love of humanitarian issues, a lot of animal rights, and the one animal that you really attached to was a pangolin. Now, I
Hmm.
know you've told me the story before, but I want, you to give a kind of a brief brief kind of thing of how, for the audience here, how you came to love pangolins and want to defend their rights and fight for them.
So I was actually how I became in love with pangolins is I was watching a David Suzuki documentary, and if anyone doesn't know who David Suzuki is, he is an amazing animal activist and environmentalist, and his daughter too is an amazing. I think she's a marine biologist. She's incredible. They're both doing some really good stuff for the environment. Um, and then I just fell in love with pangolins, and I never eat candy. So Dane and me have this joke and stuff. He's let's say says this candy, and I'm like, what is that? I don't know a lot of candy brands,
Well,
but
not that I want to get off on too much of a tangent,
yeah,
but sometimes Ryan, I fully believe. Like when I mention a candy or a pop culture thing, he just goes, "What's that? I don't know what that is." And every so often he has that gleam in his eye. Like I just want to see his reaction if I say I don't know what it is. So, I don't know. Sometimes I gotta look at you like, do you actually not know what it is, or are you just messing with
Well, I actually didn't know what the arrow is or arrow. I don't know. I don't even know what it's called, like how it's pronounced.
the zero bar or arrow bar?
Arrow, yeah, not Aereo.
Yeah. AERO.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, so back on to the penguin story. Since I don't eat candy for Halloween, I only got no, mostly candy from my friends. So instead, I thought I could raise money for pangolins. So I went to each house in a pangolin costume made from my friend. She's very talented at making that. And she's also an animal lover like me. And so then I raised. My goal was to get to $1,000, and I accomplished that goal. And then I became an ambassador for the was the I forget the see there was two different companies. I forget but I became an ambassador for two pangolin companies, and then ever since then I've been working with them to help pangolins become more fair, like have a more fair life and not get taken out from the wild and poached.
Now, one of if I remember correctly, there was a video that came out where you went to one of your neighbor's house and she was like, did you say penguins?
And
No.
yeah, and I'm like, no, and she's like, are they marmots? Are they related to marmots? I'm like, no, they're closely related to anteaters. They're
Why, why did she have that weird inflection? Marmots?
Yeah, she was hilarious. She probably doesn't even know she's on the web.
Hey, Ryan's neighbor, have I got have I got news for you? No, not really. We're not gonna bother. The A lot of what really makes me realize how much of a talent Ryan is the fact that I'll give him a specific kind of a role, and he's able to just understand the assignments completely. We did a another proof of concept called The Urchin and the Ripper, where Ryan had to play a character who had a British Cockney accent, and I really didn't even have to like coach you or anything. You already knew how to do this accent. Are you the type of person who knew how to do accents already? Like, do you pick it up, do
Um,
you think, naturally?
I definitely didn't know how to do a Cockney accent before. It was lots of fun. I did a lot of research on that. But my dad is really amazing at accents too. He's like, so we've worked on accents before, but definitely not a Cockney accent.
No, you didn't work on that one too well, did you? Nah, you did a very good job. I was pleased as punch because, like I said, I give Ryan an assignment. He's able to understand it right away. He played the kid in one of my Dick Tracy Radio Theater productions, pulled it off magnificently. Even though, if I recall correctly, you had told me you'd never seen the movie before, but you were able to get the character down very well.
Thank you.
Yes.
But my favorite accent is definitely the Russian accent. It's a lot of fun.
That's right. What you do.
I
I,
like to
I,
talk to my friends like about the Russian accent, and they always like laugh how it sounds.
they're like, what? What? I don't understand you.
They're like, I do not understand what you're saying. Cause
One of the one of the more boneheaded moves on my part was one of my short-lived series called I Do Voices. I had Ryan on in the first episode. Um, and something that I didn't realize was that a piece of music that I used in that first episode, there was a copyright strike. And because of that, the episode couldn't be seen in Canada. Ryan lives in Canada. So literally, I froze him out of seeing the episode he was in. So I had to actually take his segment and put it in as a separate video. So for that, I want to extend my most sincere apologies, even though this happened well over 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. Thank you.
I'm just I'm just imagining Ryan just like, no, no, I don't forgive you. Son of a-" Oh man. Right, you've worked on a lot of different kind of cartoon voiceovers, so I would suspect that voiceover work, especially virtual stuff that I do, is very much second nature to you. How did you start your love and your um, use of doing voiceovers for cartoons?
Well, since when I got more like known in the acting industry, then they started to then they picked me up for voiceover. They said like, could you audition for this? So my agent gave me that, and then my first one was called um something Mike. It was about a dog, and I was 6, and at that time I couldn't read the band because it was cursive because the band is cursive. Um, and I also do dubbing, which is lots of fun because that's cursive and it's literally like another language because it's not really like regular cursive. There's like little just like things that are on the band that you need to understand if it's like a breath in or a breath out or closed lips or open mouth breaths. And so then need to memorize the script, but then later I learned cursive for school and stuff, and then I was able to do it like just reading the band.
Yes, Ryan has done a lot of dubbing for foreign movies. There is a Italian horror movie that's on Netflix right now
Ooh,
where Ryan is in it. What's the name of it?
Tin and Tina. That was
Ten.
it has actually a massive following. Tin and Tina. It's so depressing, but it's very talented. Like it's good um a good horror movie, but it's very depressing.
Well, I mean, they're two evil Satan infused children who kill
Follow
people. It's a family movie.
Yeah, totally. They basically just follow the Bible literally. So they do like and you know how that will be if they do everything like literally.
I think one of the funnier things that happen in life are when I come across the works of people that I collaborate with by accident. One of the examples I give is I was looking for people to do animation demo reels for me, and I kind of fell down the rabbit hole of looking at people's demo reels for animation, and I came across a gentleman by the name of Jack Caitlin,
Oh yeah, I remember him.
and it was from a cartoon called Moose. And as I'm listening to one of the character voices, I'm sitting there going, this sounds like Brian. So I backed it up, I started over, and I'm like, oh my God, I think this is Ryan. And I remember I messaged Alessandra and I'm like, does this sound like Ryan to you? And she's like, I think it is him. And I messaged your mother, like, is this Ryan? And she's like, how did you find that? Yeah, there you were
Yeah,
in a demo reel.
that was a really fun original voice that I did. It was written by Robert Munch.
Robert Munch. He wrote the original books, I believe it was.
Yes.
Oh man. That's another one of those things that's behind the Canadian paywall.
Well,
Come on.
just like when you found the Claus Family 3,
Yeah,
when I was playing the bully.
that's right. I did find that.
Yeah.
And your voice was there for like 10 seconds, but it was you all right.
But like if you fast forward more in the movie, like if you watch the Claus movie, I'm in a few scenes. Like I'm the bully. In the end, I become spoiler alert. In the end, I become good.
Oh, I was getting ready to watch it, and now you just spoiled the entire movie. Thanks a lot, you you big poop. So you've played bullies, you've played heroes. What do you prefer, playing a villain or playing a good guy? Or are you fine with doing both of them?
I'm definitely fine with doing both, but I love playing like psychos. I don't know why. Like I love channeling that type of role. But I also my dream is to play a superhero, like a Marvel or DC.
Would you, if I get a good word in for you, maybe you can play Wolverine. I have connections.
That would be pretty great.
Yeah. Hugh Jackman will definitely step aside.
Mm. Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, yeah. He'll look at you and he'll be like, "Blimey, I'm Hugh Jackman. I'm Australian. I would like this Canadian boy." Hey, because remember, Wolverine is Canadian.
Yep.
So, and we fast forward to just last year almost, November of 2023. The latest project that Ryan did for me was Rooster's Grand Adventure, where he got to learn about grunge and alternative rock music, which is now I've said this before, but a majority of the kids who were in that cast, when I mentioned people like Alice in Chains, Jane's Addiction, looked at me like I had 27 heads. Like, who, Jane's who? Allison, what now? Was it interesting to you to learn about these new kind of the music tastes?
Yes, definitely. I remember this one it was about music, and still remember this one like thing. It was I'm sick and dirty, more dead than alive. I'm just a more coherent Bob Dylan. I still remember
Well, well, those are made up lyrics, okay? And that
Oh,
was supposed to.
I'm always saying it at home. Like I'm sick and dirty. I like putting like a accent kind of on it.
For those of you who are wondering, he is directly quoting a skit that we did where I played Lou Reed, the musician, and that was my first line as Lou Reed. And that seems to have tickled Ryan so much that he just repeats it at home.
Speaking of like accents, though, Dane is incredible at a Christopher Walken accent.
Wow, thank you. I already told you, Ryan, your check is in the mail. You don't have to keep drilling. You struck oil, my boy.
My dad loves that, and my
Speaking of speaking of which, I know this is just an audio program, but I can tell you all that me and Ryan have a couple of inside jokes, and especially one that I like is the "Ma, hey Ma."
get over here.
So,
I actually
so
never said that though.
well, it's
I
more
would
based
just be
off
like,
of
Mama, Dane wants to talk to you.
well, don't shout that out loud because then your mom's gonna come in during the recording like, what do you need, Dane? What's the matter? I thought you were recording. So like we were rehearsing something. I forget which script it was that we were rehearsing, and we had finished. And I had to ask your mom something about scheduling a recording for uh, a particular day and time. So I said, "Hey Ryan, can you go get your mom?" And Ryan just deadpan looked at the camera like, "Yeah, sure. Hang on 1 second." Then he kind of just tilted his head and went, "Mom." And it was just such perfect timing that it cracked me up. And that's been our little inside joke ever since. Yes. So as Ryan has gotten older, he is starting to really come on into his own. He is doing competition dances, doing really awesome. He has a dance that he does to Friend Like Me from Aladdin, the musical. James Monroe really appreciates that, by the way. I'm being serious.
Wait, James Monroe. Wait, really?
Yeah, I'll tell you about it later. So, yes, we are looking at the old clock on the wall. You're starting to run out of time. I'm looking at the non-existent wall over here,
Hmm.
non-existent clock. Just one last question for you, Ryan.
Yeah.
If anyone was to come up to you to say, "Hey, Ryan, I am looking to get into the performing arts, whether it be acting, singing, dancing, doing voiceover," what would be the piece of advice that you would give to people who are asking you about breaking into that kind of field?
I would say stay true to yourself. Don't let people bring you down. Know that you're awesome. Believe in yourself and work from the heart.
Not from the colon, as we already
Yeah.
established earlier.
Yes.
Right. Because then there might be changes of underwear that are needed. We don't want that. But what I do want is for Ryan to always be the best person that he can be because he is the best person that he can be. And he's a very talented individual. I hope to work with him again very soon. And I hope to meet him in person soon because
Yeah.
that would be wonderful.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. As the intro, or the outro music rather, plays us out, I will say this has been a very fun episode that we've done. I hope everybody had a great time listening, and I hope to see you on the next episode. Good night.
Bye, everyone.
These are the performers I know. These are the performers I know. These are the performers I know. These are the performers I know.